Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Nourishing Beauty.
We're here to talk to you about, as the title says, healthy versus toxic relationships.
Right. So we know about that, right?
Mhm.
Especially as women. So many relationships in our lives that are actually detrimental to us, to our emotional health, and to our character in general.
Right.
However, we keep them. We keep these people in our lives, and they only act as stress. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about like how to identify what's toxic, what's healthy, and why it's important to get rid of the toxic relationships for the betterment of you, your health, and how it contributes to your beauty and your sexiness.
I think if some people, because I've been there where you're struggling with a relationship that you really want to sever, ties with. Mm-hmm. If we start with toxic, it might already answer the questions that you might have even, already had when you clicked on this video. So let's start with toxic relationships. For me, I am an empath, so I really love to relate to people. I easily relate to people, even if those are not my intentions,
Mm-hmm.
or I might want to be introverted that day. Okay. But I tend to really relate to people, and in turn, a lot of people will gravitate towards me and be able to open up. That's okay. Mm-hmm. The problem is when you find yourself in a place where you are not having any sort of exchange in a relationship.
You're doing all the giving.
You're doing all the giving. Mm-hmm. And as an empath, a lot of times I would internalize that kind of stuff, mm-hmm. and it would turn into unhealthy behavior, like lashing out at people closest to me, my family members, being angry with them about things, or coming home from work, just really angry and peed off, I'm mad, and not really realizing, okay, who did I speak to today? And what was that conversation like? It's not to say that you can't be there for people, because that would just be selfish, which is toxic in itself, right? Mm-hmm. But it's about knowing that balance between, and sometimes there is a particular day where your friend's having a bad day, mm-hmm. and you're going to be there for them the whole day, the whole day. They're going through a breakup, finances, whatever. You're going to have to be that one there for them the whole day. You're going to
listen.
Yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice whatever you're going through for that person. Mm-hmm. But that relationship is toxic if the person would not do the same for you.
Right. And opposite of you, you're a person who is a giver, and, I'm a person who, not that I'm not a giver, but I'm more of a person that I generally stay in my head a lot. And so in order to be one with the conversation or get to know a person, you really have to kind of capture my attention, and you have to get my attention, whether it be asking me questions or ask me the right questions so that I'm now entertained and you have my attention. And so with that, because of that, it's actually easier for me to not attract the toxic relationships, because I'm not the initiator, right? I'm not the initiator of these relationships. Mm-hmm. But one thing I do notice is, I guess people look at me as a role model. they think I'm successful, and so because of that, they want to latch on to me. They want to be around me, talk to me, spend time with me, and I love that. Like I'm a helper. I enjoy helping people, supporting people. But the thing that I have to notice is, if I'm giving all of my time, mm-hmm. or being there for you, being supportive, and just, talking with you, but everything you're talking about is negative, mm-hmm. and then I'm now down, yes. I'm feeling like I'm not the same peppy, like, just a positive person that I once was, because you're now in my life and you are, embarking this like shadow of just angriness and just sadness.
You can feel it too. It's like, it's like a slow emotional decline. And like, it's in your spirit is like a dry desert. Like, you're like, I have nothing. I
have nothing.
I want to go to sleep. I'm depressed.
I don't want to do anything. I just want to talk about people.
Yes.
And when I see that that's what I'm doing because of whomever it is in my life, bam, toxic relationship.
Yes.
And that's when I realized, gotta get rid of this person in my life or just not hang out with them as much. Kind of keep the distance because you know how you get when you're around them.
Right.
And so it's important to identify that. Because if you don't identify it, you can't recognize it and you can't make a change.
Yeah.
You know?
And it doesn't matter how long the person's been in your life. I know Drake hurt you and he doesn't want new friends, but sometimes you need new friends.
No new friends.
Like,
no new friends.
you need new friends, new friends, new. Like, sometimes you need new friends. If you have people around you that are making you feel low or bringing out the worst ugly parts of you. I mean, every human, we have side sis, but people should not be extracting that from you. You know? So if that's what's happening, like you said, pay attention to how you feel. If after you hang out with this person, you're like, dang, this world is dark. You know what I'm saying? You're depressed. Chances are they're toxic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I'd like to add, because I did mention earlier about being there for people. The way you can tell if a relationship is toxic when you have to maybe give a day to a friend to just be there for them, support them. If they totally reject all your help and they just want you to be there with them, if you're like, oh, come here, my man broke up with me today. You're like, okay, you come over like, so how are you and your boyfriend doing? Bad, I hear. You know, if it's like that and they're bringing you down with them and they are not accepting your attempts to elevate their spirits, that's toxic.
That's how to separate yourself from that if you want to be healthy and have healthy emotional stability, So it's up to you to be in tune with that and to check that at the door. So if it's happening and you know it's happening, you got to make the change. Because trust me, that other person, they're going to be like, what? Like,
they're cool. They're going to sleep.
They
went to sleep.
Right?
They're cool.
And here you are up. You can't go to sleep. You're stressed out. You're wondering like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. You got to change that. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And so how do they change that?
You change it by, first of all, like you said, distancing yourself from unhealthy relationships, and by being somebody who inside will attract healthy relationships. You have to set yourself up. Once again, we're talking about nourishing beauty, beauty from within. You have to set yourself up to be a person that says, hey, why do I feel like I deserve this negative relationship? There's one thing. And then what do I need to do? This may take writing and actually some self-reflection. And a lot of people don't like to do that, but it's necessary to be a complete and whole person. You have to reflect. What can I do to make sure that I either guide these friends and say, hey, I feel like we're being really negative right now. Let's, there are things you can do if you want to be gentle with friends. You're like, I'm not ready to cut this person. You have to set the limits and the standards with how people interact with you, because they're going to meet you wherever you're at. And if you allow them to push more, they will, So you have to set those standards. You have to, reflect. And then I guess moving into healthy relationships, you need to be able to establish some healthy relationships.
A healthy relationship is where you can have that back and forth. You can talk to someone, they can talk to you. You don't have to feel as if you're giving all of you and they're just taking. Also, it's stress-free, or, there's minimal stress, right? It's not 100% stress in a healthy relationship. You feel good about the relationship. You feel like you can, be yourself. I think that's really huge, right? You can be yourself. You don't have to act. There's relationships that I've been in the past, and I guess am I talking about guys?
We might be talking about guys. I mean, friendships and relationships, these are all relationships.
Right. So. Where I feel like I cannot be myself because there's been, episodes in the past where me being myself would, get them upset.
Right.
You know, and then we would have an argument, whether it be a friend or a potential boyfriend. Like, and so in order to keep that relationship going, I would just be fake and be somebody that I wasn't in order to keep this relationship going. And in the long run, you're only hurting yourself, because you can't keep that up and be 100% happy.
Right.
And if you're not happy, it's toxic, you know, because imagine all the stress that goes into that. And what do we do when we're stressed out? I mean, we might overeat. And not the right foods, you know. We'll eat the processed foods,
you'll crave
ice creams, the cookies, you know, the things like that. And yeah, you'll crave it, and you'll get addicted to it, and then you'll still have this toxic relationship that each time that you're interacting with this person is just making you worse and worse and worse, you know?
Yeah.
And so the ultimate solution is to get rid of this toxic person in your life in order to get to the healthy.
Right. You can be out with all your healthy friends and like, hey, you know, we're out. And then there's that one, you know, Debbie Downer, Drew Downer, whatever Downer. And then you're all of a sudden, you, more than likely, the healthy friends, especially if they're very grounded, they may not let that get them down, but you're their connection to, you know, the downer person. So now, because you're the connection to the person who is negative, it's bringing you down once again. So that's just a disclaimer for anybody who's like, well, I'll just bring them around my healthy friends, and then they'll be healthy. No, they won't. And they'll probably hate on your healthy friends, because there will be a light that your healthy friends have that just shines that this other person cannot understand.
Right.
You know, and I know this only from experience. I don't know this by judging. I know this from personal experience. And so, once again, just like Chika said, you have to, in order to get to the good, you have to weed out the bad, or it's gonna constipate your life.
Right.
Like health.
and like, are there times like when you bring that unhealthy, that toxic person into your web of friends that are more healthy and happy, and they start to talk to you about, why do you like her? What do you see in this person or this dude? Right? I think it's just about emotional intelligence, really, you know? So paying attention to how you interact with other people, how they're interacting with you. For instance, if you ask a person, oh, come to this place with me, and they say yeah, but then they cancel on you, don't assume like, oh yeah, they had something to do. Yeah, perhaps. But if it consistently happens, you have to look at that and think like, dang, like this person is not really down for me the way that I'm down for them, because they always cancel, you know. And so things like that, you have to kind of just think about it, right? And don't just accept things for what they are. You have to question, and you might have to have that conversation with the person just to make sure you guys are on the right page.
You know, it's not always easy to sever things, but sometimes you have to, so that you can be the better you, because you don't always physically see the manifestation of unhealthy relationships, but they're there, and it is manifesting in yourself. You're, like you said, your skin, your hair, everything.
Think about that. Think about your priorities. And because it all contributes to your health, or it can contribute to the toxicity of your body. You know? So think about, what do you want to be, healthy or toxic? It's up to you.
Thank you for tuning in. I think we touched on a lot, you know.
This is a good topic.
Definitely. I think we should continue the conversation. So any comments, questions, leave them below.
Thank you. Bye.
Be sure to tune in to other episodes from Nourishing Beauty Season 1 to learn how you can make affordable, quick, delicious, and healthy meals in the comfort of your home. Nourishing Beauty. Beauty from the inside out.